Morena! It's Elijah and Karen, your lead pastors here.
So good together as Unite Neighbourhood Churches this morning.
We desire to grow as apprentices of Jesus according to the Bible by the Spirit of God.
Devoted to God in Jesus with one another.
Showing the world the love of God. Now, I just want to remind you and me and all of us as we gather this morning, be on the lookout for two gifts. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. One, the gift that God has for you this morning as we gather, and two, the gift that you have to bring. In your hearts and minds, be open to receive from the Spirit and be open to bring something of the Spirit. It could be small and subtle, or pre-planned and thoughtful, or loud and passionate. In this way, we make space for God to dwell and for His supernatural love to grow in us as we simply gather as the church.
Yeah. So I'm going to be speaking with Swaparuni about mission, because I kind of tagged that on to the end of my message from last week. And if you haven't watched that, go watch that and later, but watch this one now. What is mission? It's a reason for existence. Just like Unite has a mission, every other church has a mission, every organisation has a mission, a reason for existence. This question appears over and over again in life. How do I know what my mission on earth is? Or it could also sound like, what is my purpose? Why am I in this world? Have you asked that before? I know I have many times, and I've heard it many times. I believe there are two parts to this, and I think they intertwine. So it's kind of, one thing, but two parts. And of all of this, it needs to be coloured with who God is, forever enjoying the journey of getting to know who our Creator is. We need to live in communication with God the Father and let Him reveal to you who you are. This is where mission begins. Your gifts, your strengths, your uniqueness, your way of seeing the world, your lens on life, the perfect design that is you. This is where mission comes from and flows most naturally from. The more you allow your own self to be revealed to you through the Father, the more effective mission will be. And the more you begin to understand all those things about yourself, the strengths and all that kind of thing, you'll be then made aware of your need for other people. Every strength of yours has a weakness, and every weakness of yours needs another person's strength. We can't be in isolation. Jesus talks in the Bible about the Great Commission, and here's the intertwining part of what mission looks like. Matthew 28:16-20 is the Great Commission, and it says, "Then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw Him, they worshipped Him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, 'All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age.'" I just feel like I need a breath after that. It's beautiful. I remember hearing a pastor once say that the Great Commission is ours and Jesus's commission. And it's stuck with me ever since, the togetherness of it. He is surely with us to the very end of the age as we together co-mission. And again, the question, what is the mission? Go and make disciples of all nations. And how do we do that? We go back to John 13:35, which I talked about last week. "A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." If your mission flows from who God created you to be, it is enveloped by the love that you have for each other. Once again, have a look around at the people around you, that's the each other. Then people will know that you are His disciple.
That's good.
And isn't that the whole point? Before you look for a need for your strength to fill, look for the always present opportunity to love your fellow apprentices, your fellow disciples. We see in Hosea, as we've been reading this week together, that the people stopped loving God and stopped loving each other. And it kind of shows us what happens when we forget about God, when we forget about each other, instead looking for fulfillment elsewhere. the mission is lost. The mission becomes inward and it becomes selfish. And Elijah's going to share very soon about some more things on Hosea. Mission cannot be achieved in isolation. That's the opposite of who God is and who He's created us to be.
It was good. Carpe Karen. It was awesome. That was incredible. And let that just sit for a bit. Great. Just to give some framework to the book of Hosea as we share this morning. Remember, we don't read the Bible to understand. We read to hear from God and to grow as people of the Spirit, people of the way. There's a bigger story at play. One of a loving Creator who would take up His cross and release His Spirit to make the world right and good again, as He designed from the beginning. We see in Torah, the beginning of our Bible, God desiring to partner with the Israelites. The direction God is taking them in the Old Testament is missional. They are to be a nation of priests, not a nation with priests like everyone else, but a nation of priests to intercede on behalf of the world and from God to the world. A missional people for the whole world to fix what was broken. So the call on them is high, and we can see this now through Jesus and ourselves as the church to intercede on behalf of the world. In Abraham through to Moses, we see an engagement, a marriage covenant between God and His people. God lays the boundaries of relationship out. The people agree, and yet over and over again they stray from the story, and God is patient. He rescues them when they stray and become oppressed by other nations. But then they become the anti-story. The oppressors, they become like Pharaoh, the anti-nature of God, while still calling themselves God's people. Can you imagine? They hurt the very people they were supposed to care for, and they put God's name on it. This is what the book of Hosea is talking about. This is where we see God's people in Hosea's time in history. Surely He has to do something, or else His nature is stained with injustice, and He does in time. And so in all of this, we, rightfully so, wrestle with the tension we see between the mercy and patience of God, who allows suffering, and the justice of God, allowing consequences of wrongdoing. The mercy and the justice, one God. And we see these meet on the cross in Jesus. Here are 3 questions for you as you seek to grow in the Spirit together this morning. 1, where can you see God's heart in Hosea? 2, how is your neighborhood church collectively responding to God? 3, how does your neighborhood church's response to God affect the world you live in? So 1, where can you see God's heart in Hosea? 2, how is your neighborhood church collectively responding to God? And 3, how does your neighborhood church's response to God affect the world you live in? So 1, devoted to God. 2, with one another. 3, showing the world. If you need those questions again, rewind and play them again.
As always, we want to call you to practice the way of Jesus in your neighborhood church by receiving His love, apprenticing in spirit, and praying from rest.
By journeying in love, gathering and sharing, and honouring God with our money.
At Unite, we choose each other, and we choose to be under prayerful leadership.
If you want to partner with us financially or are interested in joining a neighbourhood church, you can contact us via unitechurch.org.nz.
We're praying for you and we love you. Aroha nui, Unite whānau.
See ya.